because we might be getting right back into this war or, well, kinetic strikes. All right, guys, don't forget to double tap that screen, like the video, and let's get right into it.
Tonight, so we'll see how that goes.
Do you think they're slow rolling it? Do you think they're intentionally slow rolling the process?
We'll find out soon enough.
Mr. President, yesterday you met the Brazilian leader. Are you willing to benefit the tariffs to Brazil and willing to discuss the
Well, we had a good meeting. We had a great. And we'll see what happens. They want to do business with the United States. Everybody does.
Are you planning to hire?
We had a very good meeting.
Are you planning to hire Marty McCrary?
What's going on with Marty McCrary? Nothing much. Did you stay on?
Are you going to fire him?
I've been reading about it, but I know nothing about it.
Mr. President, are you optimistic about Iranian response to you tonight?
What about it?
Are you optimistic about Iranian response to your proposal?
Well, we'll see what happens. Look.
Now, here's the thing. Iran sent their own proposal, and Donald Trump was not feeling it whatsoever. Complete rejection. And once again, we're at a stalemate when it comes to negotiations because both sides are rejecting each other's maximal proposals.
They have no military. They have not a lot left. We'll see what happens. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, if you decide to pull your
President, you announced a 3-day ceasefire in the Ukraine-Russia war. Do you anticipate that will be any longer than 3 days?
I mean, it could be. It'd be nice. I'd like to see it stop. Russia, Ukraine, it's the worst thing since World War II in terms of life. 25,000 young soldiers every month. It's crazy. So it could very well be.
Mr. President, if you decide to pull troops from Germany, will you move them to Poland or maybe some other countries on the eastern flank?
Well, Poland would like that. We have a great relationship with Poland. I have a great relationship with the president. Do you remember? I endorsed him, and he won. And he came from way behind and he won. He's a great fighter. He's a great guy.
And if you're wondering, like, Seth, hold on, what's the beef with Germany? Well, the beef with Germany is that the guy came out, the leader of Germany came out and pretty much said that Iran was embarrassing us on the world stage. And, you know, Trump, of course, didn't take that too kindly.
I like him a lot, so that's possible.
But will you do it? He's asking you for
Mr. President, you seem happy about the election of new Prime Minister of Iraq. How is important Kurdistan regional government, Iraqi federal government, and United States of America working together and reduce militia's influence on the region?
Oh God, do me a favor and double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support.
And especially in Iraq.
So we had a great election in Iraq. We had somebody that I very strongly endorsed. He won by a lot. And I wasn't happy with the person who was there previously. So it was a great victory. We had a lot of great victories. We had a big victory today in Virginia, as you know, and we have a lot of victories. But the victory in Iraq was really great.
Oh, yeah. And like, did anybody else see that the Wall Street Journal article on how Israel has like a secret military base in Iraq? That the Iraqis actually went over there and attacked because they're like, yo, what's going on here? And they end up losing one soldier. Like, bro, crazy story. But yes, Israel pretty much had a secret military base in Iraq to pretty much commit strikes into Iran.
Bringing on a new FDA commissioner.
Impressive. Very impressive.
FDA commissioner?
Are you bringing someone new in to lead the FDA?
No.
Mr. President, how do you feel about the UK election results last night?
I sort of leave that to them. I'm happy about everything. Our country is doing well. We just have new stock market records. Everybody's 401k is hitting a record.
Yeah, that's what's, bro. I'm sorry, but that's not registering or resonating with Americans. When you sit there and talk about the stock market and how these big corporations are making billions of dollars, but your average American is seeing their pricing go up or seeing their cost of living go up. Yeah, nobody wants to hear it. We want to hear about how gas is going down. We want to hear about how inflation is going down. But he can't say that because it wouldn't be true and it'd be obvious. It'd be right in our face.
The numbers are absolutely incredible. The job numbers, we have more people working today than we ever had working in this country. The job numbers today were incredible. Thank you.
Would you like to give 5 minutes?
The French sent an aircraft carrier toward the Strait of Hormuz. Do you have any reaction? The French sent an aircraft carrier toward the Strait of Hormuz. friend sent. Any reaction?
No, I have no reaction to that. No,
Do you
not at
think
all.
it's a good move?
I think we're doing very well. Iran is seeming to be coming along very well. Militarily, very good. We'll see whether or not they can get there. Steve, go ahead.
An update on the hantavirus. The hantavirus.
We have it. We have very good people looking at it. It seems to be okay. They know the virus very well. They've worked with it for a long time. They know it very well. Not easy to pass on. So we hope that's true.
President Trump, from all the topics that you discussed with the president of Brazil, it was a long meeting, right?
Yeah, apparently, what was it, like 5 cases in America so far, but it doesn't look like this is like, highly transmittable. Like, it's able to be transmitted, but it's not highly transmittable like COVID, where you can just apparently take a deep breath and all of a sudden you got COVID.
Yeah, we had a great meeting.
Which topic brought
We
your
discussed everything. President.
Hold on, I'll tell you this right now. I'm not going on cruises anytime soon. I'm good on cruises. That whole idea is dead.
In Brazil, we discussed everything. We had a very good meeting. We have a very good relationship with him and with
But
Brazil.
what made you more interested?
We discussed everything, including tariffs.
Great.
Was it Putin that asked for the ceasefire? Was it Putin that asked for the ceasefire? Did he ask you?
No, I asked, and President Putin agreed. President Zelensky agreed, both readily. And we have a little period of time where they're not going to be.
Hey, and shout out my man User for sending $2. He had too much to say, just wanted to show some support. Hey, bro, I appreciate that. Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation and let's boost engagement.
Killing people, that's very good.
You hope it lasts about how
And they also agreed to give 1,000 on each side, 1,000 prisoners back. So they're going to be transferring almost immediately 1,000 prisoners from each side. That's very good. Russia, Ukraine.
do you plan to talk to them again to try to get this to continue?
I'd like to see a big extension.
Will your team travel to Moscow, Mr. President? Consider leaving the World Health Organization because of the outbreak of hantavirus.
Now, we seem to have things under very good control. They know that virus very well. It's been around a long time. Not easily transferable, unlike COVID. But we'll see. We're studying it very closely. We have very good people studying it very closely.
Guys, cross your fingers that next week they don't say, all right, guys, I'm sorry, we were wrong. It actually mutated while it was on the cruise. So yeah, the virus took a vacation and it leveled up and now it's highly transmittable. So everybody, we're going back to COVID. I hope they don't hit us with that in a week, because a lot of people been echoing, in 2025, there's gonna be another pandemic. In 2025 passed. So I was all right, great. These guys are on bullshit. But now it's 2026, and now we're talking about hantavirus. Yeah, that's a bit concerning. But fingers crossed, it's not another COVID.
We're at a point almost 10 weeks after a missile hit a girls' school in Iran. Who fired that missile?
So that's under study right now, and we'll give you a report as soon as we have it.
Will you send your team to Moscow now that you broke the ceasefire in the Ukraine war to negotiate further?
What?
Will you send your team to Moscow to negotiate further now that you broke your
Well, I would do it. If I thought it would help, I'd do it. I'd love to see that war end. I've settled 8 wars and actually 9, and now it looks like we could have 10, but I would love to make that the 10th. I will tell you. I would love to see an end between Russia and Ukraine. That war. 25,000 young soldiers were killed last month, and it's on average 25 to 30,000 soldiers a month. It's a terrible war.
I know it's a very gruesome war. I mean, hundreds of thousands of lives lost on both sides. The problem is that Russia can keep losing hundreds and thousands of lives. Ukraine, they're running out of people to low-key put on the front line. I mean, the whole operation of snatching people off the street and put them on the front line is not working anymore because they'd already snatched everybody. So what are you going to do? Like what? Never mind. I know what they're doing. They're going to start sending out drones or, I don't know, cyborgs or something. Who knows? But the sad reality is that Ukraine is losing this war that we put billions of dollars behind. So that does suck, but it is what it is.
You said that South Korean ship was attacked by Iran, but Iran denied it did. Do you share with the
I love South Korea.
Mr. President,
Project Freedom? Do you think you need to resume the Project Freedom?
I don't think so. We might do it, but I don't think so. I think we would go a different route if everything doesn't get signed up and buttoned up. Project Freedom is good. We were asked not to do that by Pakistan, who's our friend, as you know, the Prime Minister and the Field Marshal. But I think Project Freedom is good, but I think we have other ways of doing it also. We may go back to Project Freedom if things don't happen, but it'd be Project.
I'm sorry, Project Freedom was undoable. Like, there was no way we were going to be able to do Project Freedom. Like, all right, cool. Clearing a pathway of mines, that's doable. But telling these ships to go through without any type of, well, we're not escorting them. We're just clearing out the mines. We're telling them to come on through on the trust me, bro, that Iran just won't start flinging missiles and drones. And we have no way of protecting those vessels, like, completely. We have no way. There's no way to ensure that they'll be protected. That's why their companies are telling them, no, don't go through the strait until we get confirmation from Iran that we won't be attacked. Because Americans can say whatever the hell they want. They cannot confirm that Iran won't just start shooting at these ships trying to transit the strait. But they were able to get 2 ships through. So, I mean, that's nice.
Freedom.
I mean, you know, it used to be like 100 a day. And I mean, shoot, y'all want to brag about 2, then what about the 20 Iranian shadow fleets that made it through the strait? I mean, if you're impressed with 2, then please be impressed with that as well. I'm joking. Like, them making it through is a bad thing.
Plus, meaning Project Freedom plus other things.
Why did you ask Zelensky for a ceasefire that Putin wanted?
So we have a ceasefire, and I think everyone's happy. President Zelensky, President Putin. I think they're happy to have it, and we'll see what happens.
Mr. President, during ceasefire, it is important ceasefire include Iraq and Iraqi Kurdistan, because after ceasefire with Iran, several times Iranian regime and proxies targets in Iraqi Kurdistan as your ally.
We want to get the whole thing ended, not just individual movements. We want to get the whole thing ended, and we will.
All right, now let's get over to Trump's. Pretty much he took questions in the Oval Office. So let's get into that one as well. Then we're going to get into this media analysis. Going to go see what's going on both sides of media. But while we get into this, go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel by hitting that icon above. Appreciate the support, guys. All right, let's go.
Dangerous. They're very volatile. It's a terrible thing that's happened over there. They've killed 42,000 people in the last 2 months. 42,000, at least that's what we know of. 42,000 people. They killed numerous people over the last week, but they killed 42,000 people a month and a half ago.
Guys, like I said, there is no proof that Iran killed 42,000 protesters. Sorry, none at all. But there is proof that they killed over 3,000 for sure. And that's an atrocity on its own. But I'm not sure why they're inflating the numbers to sell this war. It's like, it actually is irritating to sit there and say, oh, yeah, they killed 42,000 people in 2 days, bro. In 2 days, are you serious? Without carpet bombing Tehran in 2 days? Okay, man.
They were unarmed protesters, not at all violent protesters. And they started taking them out, shooting them. So we're not going to let them. That's the plan, you know. People.
And here's a problem too, though. I mean, yeah, people are now being executed in the street because of our little operation in Iran, because we try to set off a revolution by giving protesters weapons, and they started vandalizing stuff all over the place and shooting at police. Yeah, because of that, and because of people helping them, there's about 4,000 people detained and 21 people who have already been hung publicly, using the crane.
We'll say, what's the plan? The plan is very simple. The blockade, first of all, was a part of military genius, just like Venezuela was military genius. We have the greatest military in the world by far, and we're stocked up with great ammunition. We have much better stuff than we did 2 months ago when we first did the attack, which knocked them for a loop. But very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Can't have it. And if they did have it, the Middle East would be gone, Israel would be gone, and then hit Europe probably next. We're doing the service to the world.
The fear mongering.
And this has gone on for 47 years. Other presidents and leaders.
I'm sorry, but first off, Iran never wanted a nuclear weapon. They had a whole religious law over it. 2, I'm sorry, but if they wanted a nuclear weapon, then they'd have just pushed for it in 2021. While Trump was out of office, while Biden was in office, dealing with Ukraine and Russia, yeah, that'd have been a perfect time to go towards a nuke. And they didn't do that. And guys, you got to remember, they've had 60% enrichment since 2021. So you're telling me for 5 years, they could have been had a nuke and they didn't go towards it, not one bit, not go an inch past 60% enrichment, not once. You see the problem here? Do you see the problem? Is like he's fear mongering on something that's really on an intention that the Iranians never had.
Of other countries that have the power should have done it, but they didn't do it. But it's a very simple plan. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't have a nuclear weapon, and they didn't want to go that far. If you can believe it, they didn't. How stupid? Are they stupid people? They didn't want to believe it. They think that, well, I'll get tired of this, or I'll get bored, or I'll have some pressure. But there's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. We're going to have a complete victory. We've already, in theory, had a complete victory from the military standpoint.
And this is when he says a complete victory. I'm like, all right, so what do you mean by that? Is the regime change? Has there been regime change? No. I mean, are there missiles and drones taken out? No. I mean, are the Strait of Hormuz open? Nah. So where's the total victory at here? Because all the problems we had coming into this war, we still have. Actually, we still have all those problems still.
Military, look, their Navy is dead. They have 150. They had 159 ships. Right now they have 0, other than the little speedboats that go around that got taken out 8 a day by us. They have no Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft. Now, they probably put the shoulder jobs into service over the last 3 weeks, probably. But essentially, they have no anti-aircraft. They have no radar. And frankly, their leaders have been killed at the first level, second level, and half at the third level. And then they come back and they want to negotiate, and they give us it's a stupid proposal. And nobody would take it, although Obama would have taken it, Biden would have taken it.
Yeah, but here's the problem what Trump is saying. Here's the main problem. Like, the way you're talking as if we're kicking their teeth in and they should just be begging for a ceasefire, and they should be able to accept all of our maximalist demands, but they're not doing that. Actually, they're over here hitting you with their maximalist demands, and now you're getting pissed off. So trust me, like, what Trump is saying is just not matching up with reality, sadly. Like, I wish it was like that. I wish they was on their knees begging for a ceasefire, but that's just not it. They're really, honestly, just kind of playing with us. We send our maximalist demands, they send theirs, knowing damn well we're going to say no. And it's like, we send theirs expecting them to say yes, but they look at us crazy because, like, well, let's be real. It seems like everybody outside the Trump administration knows that our demands is an automatic no to Iran and MAGA.
What they took was far worse. So we stopped them twice. We stopped them when I terminated the worst deal probably ever made in the history of our country in terms of defense. That was the Iran nuclear deal penned by Barack Hussein Obama. That would have given Iran a nuclear weapon within a year. They would have had it years ago. I terminated that in my first term. And then
no, yeah, but that's why we're here. Under that nuclear deal, Iran was enriching at 3.6%. And you guys are crying about 60% enrichment that they didn't have before during that deal. That's the problem. And here's the thing. When he pulled out of that deal and put back on the sanctions, you know what he did after that? Labeled the IRGC a terrorist group, killed General Qasem Soleimani. And here's the thing. I'm not really opposed to those actions, but the result of those actions was Iran in 2021 enriching to 60% enrichment as a hedge to make sure that we don't attack them. Now, of course, that ended up being the reason why we attacked them, but the main goal was for it to be a deterrent, and it didn't work out for them, obviously. But Iran has never tested a nuke, has never went towards a nuke, has never expressed a wanting to go towards a nuke, nor do they have a nuclear program. Well, I'm sorry, a nuclear weapons program. They got a nuclear program. We gave it to them. Yes, 1950s, called Atoms for Peace.
When that beautiful plane right there hit them hard, we really hit them hard. And they told me, I want to just tell you this because they like to say, oh, well, maybe it wasn't that hard a hit. Iran told me very strongly, because they intend to give us the nuclear dust, as I call it. It's easier than talking about other terms because it's a term everyone, but the nuclear dust, which is what we hit. They told me, number one, you're getting it, but you're going to have to take it out because the site was so obliterated that there's only 1 or 2 countries in the world that could get it. It's so deep and got hit so hard that there's no way they have the equipment to move it. You and China are the only 2 countries in the world that could take it out. So we talked about it, and they said, you'll have to take it out because we don't have the capability of doing it. So,
yo, really, bro. And you know I like you, you're serious, but here's the problem. They don't have a nuclear weapons program. And if they had 90% enrichment, just like with North Korea, when we caught them enriching up to 90%, when we seen the radiation marks and all that, we would see the same thing in Iran. Don't you think we have constant surveillance over that? That's the reason why we even know where they're at. So, no, we've had constant surveillance over Iran's nuclear program. That's how we know for a fact that they haven't progressed towards weapons grade uranium. And I mean, yes, they have like missile silos, drone factories, missile factories in mountains. And most likely they probably do have some of their nuclear enrichment being done in mountain as well. Like, trust me, I can see why, because we bomb everything up top. Not saying that I'm okay with them having it. I'm just telling you right now, as far as our intelligence goes, as far as the scans go, is that like that as well, there is no proof that they have weapons grade uranium or a nuclear weapons program. None of that at all. And anybody telling you that they do is pretty much just lying to you for some reason. Because why? They're got a war to sell, guys.
for those people that like to say that those great pilots in those great planes, well, we just ordered 22 more of them, new and improved, that those great pilots didn't do their job. They did their job. 1 o'clock in the morning with no moon, no light, no nothing.
And guys, let's make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And also to go into another point, you got to remember, they had 60% enrichment since 2021. Nobody ever can defeat this point because it kind of goes to show their, well, restraint from going towards a nuke, because they just stopped at 60% like 5 years ago, and that was it. All under Biden. The best time to go ahead and pop off with a nuke, and they didn't do it. So I'm sorry. It is really hard to sit here and hear people say, oh, they have a nuclear program. Oh, S.E.T, they're 2 weeks away from a nuke. I mean, bro, first off, they still got to get to 90% enrichment, and that's going to take some time. Then making the warhead and delivery system is going to take some time. So that whole 2 weeks myth is crazy, and they've been telling us that for like a couple decades now. And y'all still believe in it? They've been telling this longer than I've been alive, and y'all still believe it.
Single bomb hit its targets. And then, as you know, we shot some incredible things. There's things that nobody else has. Nobody has a military like we have. We shot the Tomahawks from a submarine 200 miles away. That went on top.
I love when people say dumbass stuff like that. Like, the war started in 1979, bro. No, dumbass. This war started with our interference. Well, really, their whole nuclear problem started with Atoms for Peace when we gave them their nuclear reactor that we're fear-mongering about today. We helped them start their nuclear weapons program. And then also, let's talk about the fact that during Operation Ajax, a CIA operation that you can look up, we overthrew a democratically elected leader. And why we overthrew him? Because he was trying to make Iranian resources work for the people instead of just having it sold out to us. And we didn't like the fact that that guy was doing that, so we overthrew him, let the Shah go ahead and get in, and he was an authoritarian leader. He had a secret police, and he was oppressing the people too, just like the Ayatollah, ironically. So it is kind of funny how they overthrew one oppressive leader and just got in another one. But here's even the crazier part about that. During that revolution, we green stamped the Ayatollah. Yeah, France brought him over, and we said, all right, maybe we can work with this guy. And guess what? That didn't turn out to be true. And do you even know why the hostages got taken? No, you don't. You don't. Because we wouldn't give up the Shah. He was asking for the Shah. Ayatollah Khomeini was asking for the Shah, and we didn't want to give him back, nor did we want to actually give them a good deal on their oil. So what did they do? Stormed the embassy, took them hostage. But hey, though, hey, at least he let go of the women and the black people, though, okay? All right, at least he did that. At least Jimmy Carter got them free at the end of his presidency. So good news and a really good end to a story.
But every one of those, including the Tomahawks, every one of those weapons and shots hit perfectly. And they said to me, just to put it on the record, they said to me, there are only 2 countries in the entire world that could ever get that stuff out of there because we don't have the equipment and nobody else. They said China and the United States. So I just want to let you know, those pilots did an unbelievable job, very dangerous job at 1 o'clock in the morning. Think of it. No moon, no nothing. We had no light purposely. And every single one of those bombs were right down an air chute in a granite mountain that exploded. And they are unable to get it, even if they wanted to. But we're not going to take a chance. So that's part of the.
Oh, yeah, guys. But if you got any question, comments, jokes, or disagreements you want me to read out loud, I'll be happy to engage with it. Just $2 and up. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going. Don't forget to double tap that screen.
Deal.
So, sir, are you saying that Iranians agreed to allow the removal of all their enriched uranium?
Yeah. Well, they did 2 days ago. They didn't. Okay. They did 2 days ago. They said, you're going to have to take it. We were going to go with them.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though. They're willing to give up their uranium. They was always willing to give up their enriched uranium. The problem is, though, that they want to release sanction relief. Full sanction relief that Donald Trump is not trying to do.
But they changed their mind because they didn't put it in the paper. So when they sent us this document that we waited 4 days for, that should have taken 10 minutes to do, look, very simple. We get that. They guarantee no nuclear weapons for a very long period of time, and a couple of other minor things, but they just can't get there. So they agree with us, and then they.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a memorandum of understanding where they would not give no nuclear weapons, or I guess not even no nuclear weapons, but just cancel out their enrichment for 10 to 20 years. We're supposed to give them full sanction relief. They're over here going like, well, we also need reparations and all this other good stuff. Oh, and they want to be the authority of the Strait of Hormuz, which was definitely a hell no.
Take it back. But they said to us that it was so badly obliterated, was the word they actually used. That was my original word. Then it got challenged by some of the fake news. And it wasn't challenged with any knowledge. It was just challenged like they were hoping that this wouldn't have been so successful. No, it was obliterated. We have the greatest military in the world. I built it largely in my first term, and I didn't know I'd be using it quite this much in my second term. But very simply, when they say, does he have a plan? Yeah, I have a plan. The plan is very simple. You know, in war, you have to change. You have to be flexible. You have a lot of plans, but you have to do different plans in different days. But I have a great plan. But the plan is they cannot have a nuclear weapon. And they didn't say that in their letter.
Mr. President, given the leadership changes that you've talked about.
You know why they didn't say it? Because it kind of goes without saying. It's like Iran never had a plan to get a nuclear weapon, and you guys are tripping over their enrichment. You got to remember, they're not talking to Iran like, you won't make a nuclear weapon. They're talking to Iran like, hey, no, you're not going to enrich. And they're looking at us like, yeah, no, we feel like it's our right to. Actually, we understand that it's our right to because of the non-proliferation treaty. So they kind of got us on that, but we don't really care. We just don't want them to enrich, period. So trust me, it's not even about Iran going towards a nuclear weapon anymore, because they was never going to do that. This is about us just pretty much taking away their right to enrich.
In Iran.
Which, I mean, like I said, I have no harsh feelings over. If they do that, thank God. If they don't, then we're going to have a problem.
Is this still a leadership that you believe you can negotiate with and ultimately reach a peace?
I think so. Well, you have two. You have the moderates and you have the lunatics. And I think the moderates are more respected. The lunatics want to fight till the end. You know, it'll be a very quick fight. But I call them. You have, just like our country, we have lunatics too. We have.
Sure do.
I call them lunatics. I call them stupid people too. But in Iran, they have the moderates that are dying to make a deal, and then you have the lunatics, and I guess they're a little bit afraid of the lunatics, but and why not? The level of ferocity for protests, you know, the people are watching it. They want to go out on the streets. They have no weapons. They have no guns. We thought the Kurds were going to give us weapons, but the Kurds disappointed us. The Kurds take. They have a great reputation.
Yes, we try to give the Kurds, the communist Kurds, some weapons to go over there and try to start a revolution in Iran. Yeah, that didn't work. They actually just ran off with the guns, because you want to know why? They sat there and said, bro, this man Trump is tripping. He's tripping if you think we're going to go in there and take over Iran with just these guns. You guys got to understand, like I said, there's 93 million people in Iran, and we do not have an exact number of how many people are actually willing to overthrow the government. And then here's the problem. We also don't have an exact number on how many people are willing to pick up a gun to fight for the government. We just don't know. And we can go off election numbers, we can go off poll numbers all day, but we'll never have a definitive number. But I'll tell you this, the closest you can get is their election number, is looking how the Iranian people vote, who votes for the presidents that are more for the, what do they call them, the principal list, or the the principal list, or the conservative right in Islam, or not Islam, but Iran. And then there's the reformists, which is like the liberal left in Iran. And the problem is there's two sides. Usually the reformists are probably going to be the ones that's willing to fight Iran. But the guys who are the principalists, who just believe in the regime and all this good stuff, they're going to be the ones most likely willing to fight for the regime. But here's the problem, though. Not even with the reformists do we have it guaranteed with them. Why? Because they're participating in an election that's ran by the IRGC, that's ran by the Ayatollah. They're voting for a candidate that's handpicked by the Ayatollah. So it's like we can't even trust that. And you guys got to understand, 61 million people registered in these elections, but 30.5 million people voted. And it was like, what, 13 million for the principalists, and these are like the extremists for the regime. And it was like, what, 14, 16 million for the reformists. So the reformists is actually a bigger party in Iran, but we don't know how much of those people actually want to go against the regime, considering that they're participating in an election that is controlled by a said regime. But all right.
In Congress says, oh, they fight so hard. No, they fight hard when they get paid. So I'm very disappointed in the Kurds, but they were given, I said it wasn't going to work, by the way. I just have to say it. I disagreed with what they did. They gave it. I said, they'll never get there. And I was right. I like to be right. In this case, too bad, but we sent some guns with ammunition, and they were supposed to be delivered, but they kept it. I said they're going to keep it, but what do I know? I've only been doing this a short period of time. What do I know?
For the time being, the ceasefire remains in place.
What?
For the time being, the ceasefire remains in place.
It's
I ain't gonna lie, because you could tell that some of these strategists are desperate for that to work. You could tell that all of them are just trying to push guns into Iran, hoping that they could pop off a revolution. And even Trump is like, I'm sorry, but I don't even think this is gonna work. He's like, Trump pretty much called it out, like, hey, yo, you sending these guns to the Kurds, they're most likely gonna take them. Because, like, let's be real, if you understand who the Kurds are, they want to establish their own country by taking land in like 3 or 4 other countries, crazy enough. And taking over Iran or trying to overthrow Iran is actually not going to help towards their goal, and it would be a suicide mission. So it's like they don't even really understand the plight of the Kurdish people to even be trying to push them into a conflict with Iran.
Unbelievably weak, I would say. I would call it the weakest right now. After reading that piece of garbage they sent us, I didn't even finish reading it. They said, I'm not going to waste my time reading it. I would say it's one of the weakest right now. It's on life support. They understand these are all medical people. Dr. Oz, life support is not a good thing. Do you agree?
Bad prognostic.
I would say the ceasefire is on massive life support, where the doctor walks in and says, sir, your loved one has approximately a 1% chance of living. Yeah.
Mr. President,
Daniel, go ahead.
Yep.
One of the best reporters in Washington.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
sir. Dr. Oz referenced this a little early. 2 questions on healthcare, if I can. The Council of Economic Advisors released a report saying that the most favorable.
Oh, guys, we do got a bit of breaking news here. Now it says U.S. to loan 53.3 million barrels of oil from strategic petroleum reserves. Now, the Trump administration said on Monday it will loan emergency energy companies. It will loan energy companies 53.3 million barrels of crude oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserves as part of a global agreement to calm oil markets that have spiked on the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. All right.
Nation drug deals will generate about $529 billion in domestic savings over the next 10 years across all markets. How transformative are these deals?
And makes people better.
Yeah, it does. How transformative are these deals for millions of Americans? And do you believe that the most favored nation drug deals are the Republicans' golden ticket to the midterms?
I think the Republicans should walk away with the midterms. Now, typically, whoever is president, they vote the other way. Nobody knows this. Do we have a psychiatrist in the group? Nobody knows why, because I think we've had the best president. A lot of people have said, even some radical left lunatics have said that we've had the best presidency, the best first year of any president. Look, I stopped 8 wars, got the largest tax cuts in history, the largest regulation cuts in history, all the things we've done. so many, like all of this that we've done, medically, we've done so much. We did a thing called Right to Try at my first, and I could never understand it when I was a civilian, which wasn't so long ago. I haven't been doing it that long, but I always used to marvel at the fact that if they had a great drug and it had to go through the FDA, and the FDA guarded it and said, you can't use it. And if a person was terminally ill and the drug was showing great promise, the person's terminally ill, they wouldn't give it to the person because they didn't want to hurt the person. And I said, well, we need something on that. And it was very important to me. And I had no idea it would be so hard to get, but we got it in total. We got it in full. It's called Right to Try. That if you're terminally ill, you have the right to try a drug that has not gone even anywhere near final. If it shows even a little promise. And we've saved thousands of lives. It was very hard to get because the insurance companies didn't want it, the doctors didn't want it, because the doctors didn't want to be blamed. The drug companies didn't want it because if it didn't
work. Well, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in on the conversation. Double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going. Oh, and any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, go ahead and super chat that in. Or if you just want to support the show, you can send a gift or a super chat. All right, guys, let's keep it going.
They didn't want it on their record. So what we did is we said, we're not going to count it on your record. If somebody's terminally ill and they take the drug, it doesn't work, we're not going to count it on your record. We'll have another record, a little smaller one that not a lot of people look at, but we're not going to count it on your record. So Right to Try has been one of the great successes. Again, nobody talks about it. We've saved thousands of lives on us, but you know what is maybe even more important? We've learned very quickly that some drugs work and some drugs don't. In other words, some drugs take a person who's terminally ill, and there are numerous cases. And without waiting 7 years, 10 years, we by the way, we think we've cut it in half, but you do need a period of time. Without waiting many, many years, we know the drug works because we've taken people that were dead. We had a person given the last rites, gone. The kids are crying and started them on this drug, and the person became better. It works, and some don't work, but you learn.
Good prices, and they're so good, in fact, that we actually save the taxpayer money by reducing the downstream effects of obesity, diabetes, and hypertension. Mr. President, all possible because you took brave action. And again, the quick question we should be asking ourselves is why did this happen a decade ago? Katie, what do you think about that young man?
That he has a new lease on hope, and it's because of you. I talked to his parents, and they said, we feel so good about our country that we literally have the president and Dr. Oz and Secretary Kennedy doing everything possible to give our son a fighting chance. They said before, no one was listening, but you, Mr. President, took action.
All right, let's skip ahead here, yapping about this medicine. All right.
Our previous presidents, and now we're doing great with China. We make a lot of money with China. I have a great relationship with President Xi, and I think you can see that with the fact that in Hormuz, they get a big percentage, 40% of their oil from Hormuz. There's been no ships coming in, no nasty ships coming in that we end up in skirmishes with. He'd like to see it get done. He doesn't want to see, I'll tell you what, look, I respect him a lot. And hopefully he respects me. He didn't respect our previous government, that I can tell you. The guy couldn't talk. It was ridiculous how that ever happened. Our country was hurt so badly the last 4 years. I say it all the time. It was the king of Saudi Arabia, but everybody says we were a dead country a year and a half ago. And now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And you know that better than anybody. You see that. Olivia sees that. You see it in the numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at the stock market. The stock market is now higher than it was when this war started. So I thought that would go down 20, 25%. It was fine. I'm willing to say a terrible expression, take a bullet. It's a terrible expression, especially when it's used by me. But I'm willing to take a bullet for the country. And I said, look, the stock market's going to go down. But we're going to have a threat of lunatics having a nuclear weapon. I deal with them. I say it to them. I say, you people are crazy. I deal with them. They talk differently. I say, you're crazy. You're crazy people. You're nuts. You're not having a nuclear weapon. They think they can talk me into it. And then They don't do very well with it,
I
but
doubt that.
they know how I feel. They can't have a nuclear weapon. They would use it within an hour after getting it. If the Obama deal wasn't terminated by me, they would have had it 6 years ago.
That's false, actually. That's extremely false. Actually, under the Obama deal, they had inspection. So the IAEA was going in there and inspecting them, and they kept under that 3.6%. Yes, according to the IAEA, they stayed below that 3.6% while we were in the deal with them. When you ripped up that deal and you put back on the sanctions, that's when these guys also start moving outside the deal themselves, when we broke our side of the deal. And here's the thing, if, like I said, if this was about their enrichment, well, we had that solved with Obama. And I'm not the biggest Obama fan. Actually, I'm not a fan of Obama at all. But when it comes to the JCPOA and stopping Iran or having eyes on Iran's nuclear capabilities, that handled everything for us. And it's kind of crazy how he sit there, took the eyes off Iran's nuclear capabilities, then want to talk about, oh, they're going towards a nuke. Yeah, well, they weren't doing that under Obama, and that was verified. But all these acts of aggressions now we really don't know. All we know is that they're at 60% and we're attacking them, and we don't know if they're going to actually try to go for that nuke. Right now, there's been no reports that they have, and trust me, we would see them trying to do so. And it's going to be pretty hard when we're pretty much dedicated to bombing all nuclear facilities. So trust me, if they weren't going for a nuke then, they definitely ain't going for it now.
And they would have used it immediately on Israel and also the rest of the Middle East. You saw that when they started shooting rockets. Nobody thought Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE were going to get hit, or Kuwait, Bahrain. I think it was a tremendous strategic mistake, and they wasted them.
But here's the main point that a lot of people gloss over. Under the JCPOA, Iran was at 3.6% enriched uranium. That's the whole point right there. That goes to show that it was working. When they were outside the JCPOA, by 2021, they're at 60%. What does that tell you? That, oh, wait, when they were under the deal, yeah, their enrichment was low. So if you guys are crying about their enrichment, then y'all should be low-key asking Trump to get back into the JCPOA.
Those missiles, we have the Patriots that knocked them down every time. You know, I told the story, we were shot at one of our great assets, happened to be a ship, great ship, 111 missiles going at very high rates of speed, sophisticated equipment. And, you know, that's all they did is build missiles. They had thousands of missiles. Who does this except for people that are looking for trouble?
Us. I mean, wait, what? Like, they have thousands of missiles. Who does this? We do. Actually, we should be doing it because we're kind of running low on some of these missiles. So, yeah, we should. And a country that's expecting for the U.S. to attack them. That's why Iran has been pushing out, 300 missiles a month for the past year or so, because they expected us to strike them again.
We had 111 shot at one of our ships over a very short period of time. Out of 111 missiles going at 3,000 miles an hour, all 111 missiles were knocked down into the ocean long prior to arriving at the target. And the coolest guys are the guys that do this. You know, they're not brawn, they're brain. They sit there, missile shot. You got to see it happening. Missiles coming. They got like about 13 seconds to make a decision. It's not like, gee, let's figure it out. They make a wrong calculation. You know, you lose a lot of men, and a lot of $1 billion times 10 ships. So, but there's a level of coolness that missile shot, they look, ba, 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 and, you know, they're going, heading 47 degrees north, 1,300 feet, going 3,000 miles an hour. Okay, we have it in our sight. Fire, boom. 10 seconds left. Let me tell you, they need smart people.
No, I guess we got to go over the JCPOA timeline, because some people is like, they think they know, but they really don't. So let's go into it, guys. Because remember, the JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, let's get into it. Now, from 2016 to 2018 compliance. Yes, the IAEA consistently reported that Iran was abiding by its commitments, including capping enrichment at 3.6% and keeping uranium stockpiles below 300 kilograms. So, yeah. In 2018, this is when the U.S. withdrew. President Trump withdrew from the, the President Trump withdrew the U.S., claiming that the deal failed to address issues like missile program, leading to a reimposition of sanctions. Yeah, guys, and you see, talking about a missile program when he already, and this is kind of backwards as hell, because you kind of see how that he was pretty much switched it up. Oh, now it's about their enrichment, and then later on it was about their missile program. At first, in 2008, it was about their missile program, but because we couldn't bitch about their enrichment. Then he got out of the deal, and now we can sit here and bitch about their enrichment. So when we got out of the deal and we imposed sanctions back on them in 2019 and 2021, there were incremental breaches, because why would you stay in a deal that the other side is breaking? Like, does that make sense? Of course it doesn't. So Iran begins violating limitations in response, increasing enrichment to 20% and later 60%. So yes, from 2019 to 2021, they went from 20 to 60%, like I told you. And using advanced centrifuges prohibited under the deal. So this is where the IAEA pretty much said that, oh, they were getting turned around. Why? Because the U.S. was no longer abiding by its end of the deal. And it's crazy how you guys expected Iran to abide by a deal that we weren't dedicated to ourselves, that we went back on our word. But what you're going to say? What, we don't negotiate with terrorists? Okay, well, then don't expect terrorists to follow a contract that you broke yourself. I mean, let's be real. If that's your attitude, then really no better than them. But here it is. By 2021 and 2026, Iran stopped applying voluntary transparency measures. Yes, they stopped applying voluntary transparency measures. And by 2025, had severely circumvented the IAEA monitoring. So do you understand what happened here now? It wasn't like they walked in 2016 and said, oh no, you guys can't go here. No, they was abiding by all of it until 2018 when Donald Trump got out of the deal. It's kind of crazy how a lot of people think they know what they're talking about, but it's obvious that you don't. And it's funny because you could easily look this up and just run through the timeline yourself like I did. But a lot of people are not going to do that because they just want to believe the propaganda. But all right, let's get back to it. Make sure to double tap that screen and like the video.
Smart. And they're so smart that they're cool. You know, under the calculations, for some people are very tough. For other people, not so tough. There's, about 1%. There's not too many. There's not too many people around like that. I say, a lot of times I'll call these gunners because they're phenomenal geniuses. Where did you go to school? I went to MIT. Where did you go to school? I went to the best schools. Smart.
See, bro, and there's still be retarded people like this. Like, though, I just explained it out perfectly, and there's still retarded people saying, so you're admitting they weren't letting inspectors in, right? No, dumbass. I'm pretty much saying that, bro, when we stepped out of the deal, they honestly had no obligations to let inspectors in because the entire reason why they signed the deal was for sanction relief. Do you understand that? Once they weren't getting that no more, they started going outside the deal because we went outside the deal. And here's the thing. It's kind of dumb to sit there and blame the other party when you broke the contract first, when you broke the agreement first. Like, come on now. It's common sense.
Smart. We have the greatest military in the world. Okay.
Mr. President, back to motherhood. Your one big beautiful bill.
I like that. Because this is about motherhood.
Yo, shout out to my man, the lunatic libertarian. He says all centralized systems are failed. Stop participating in a failed system. Be a producer of positive outcomes for yourself and everyone you care about. All laws are repugnant and not constitutional. Hashtag set number 1. Hey, I appreciate that, big dog. Shout out my man, lunatic libertarian. Hey, man, appreciate that.
But not about the beautiful country.
And I swear your statement proves to be true, more true, man, day by day. Day by day.
Country of Iran. Go ahead.
You'll remain here. Your one big beautiful bill defunded Planned Parenthood for 1 year, but that expires on this July 4th. Would you like Congress to use?
Well, we're going to see what happens.
See, like I said, making retarded comments. Like you didn't just listen. Did I not just break down the timeline? Did I not? All right. So, commenter, do you see why what you said is somewhat retarded? And I'm sorry to grill you like this, but really now? The IAEA identified June of last year. Last year, when they're not even in the IAEA no more, when nobody's abiding by the JCPOA no more, Like, really, bro? Is that really your argument? In last year, that's your argument. While nobody was abiding by the JCPOA since like what 2019, you want to talk about last year? Oh my goodness, I can't, bro. I just can't. Some of y'all just not using common sense.
Congress is now negotiating. We've been very good for the people that want it, for the people that are here, and we'll see how that goes. It's been a very thorny, to put it mildly, it's been a very thorny issue. It's all under negotiation right now. Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to see that defund?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. What do you think about the handling of the hantavirus by the U.S.?
I think fine.
Do you regret withdrawing from the WHO? Given that
No, I'm glad. So we were paying the World Health Organization $500 million a year. Look, it's a lot of money, but in the overall scope, it's not that much, but it's a lot of money. And we weren't being treated well, and they were making the wrong diagnoses. I was the one that said it came from Wuhan. They didn't say that. They refused to say that because they were totally owned by China. So I was saying it came from Wuhan. They didn't want to say that. Now it's turned out, I think it's been conclusive that it came from Wuhan. But I said that on the first day because I saw satellite pictures with body bags all over Wuhan, literally all over Wuhan. So I said that they lied to me or they didn't know. So we were paying for, let's say, 350 million people.
Hold on, bro. Whoa. You're an engineer and you can't come up with the logical consistency of just going down chronological order of the JCPOA, and you can't understand how your argument is dumb. You know, I'm just saying, you don't understand how your argument is dumb from stating a last year report that's outside of the JCPOA timeline here. You don't understand how that's dumb. And you're an engineer, so you're able to, you know, connect these things, run long equations and all that good stuff, but you can't understand this right here. I mean, I don't know about that, buddy.
We were paying
about that
500.
And think about like this, dude. I'm doing charity work for you. If you're an engineer, you should be super chatting in and it should be nothing to you. But instead, I'm doing charity work for you, my man. So be grateful.
$1 million a year to the World Health Organization. That's a lot of money. What the hell are they going to do with that kind of money?
Just aren't grateful no more.
And China is paying $39 million a year for 1.4 billion people.
I mean, bro, don't pretend that you're an engineer speaking retarded shit like that, bro. I'm sorry, but you got to go. When people start lying about their profession when they get grilled, that's when I'm just like, yeah, okay, buddy, you're an engineer, but you can't stand the chronological order of the JCPOA, but you're an engineer though. It's like, bro, how do you stand the chronological order of running these equations then? It's like, I'm really curious at that point.
So I said, you know, you got your story wrong because we should be paying about $10 million, not 500 million. And they were willing to negotiate, but it was so popular when I pulled out. They gave us all wrong information. On COVID, they were totally wrong. And I looked today and I saw the same doctor that was there. He's a good politician. I don't know how the hell he kept his job, but he was there telling us about this. Now, the one thing with this one is that it's much harder to catch. And we've had it for a long, it's been around for a long time. People are very familiar with it. So, you know, I hope it's fine. All I can do is everything that a president can do, which is actually somewhat limited. But it seems like it is not easy to spread. In fact, it's in certain ways very hard to spread. It's been, we've lived with it for years, many years, and we think we're in very good shape. We're very careful. And Nebraska has done a fantastic job. They have a place there that those doctors are unbelievable, the job they've done. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, are you going to suspend the federal gas tax?
Yeah, I'm going to reduce until let me tell you, as soon as this is over with Iran, as soon as it's over, you're going to see gasoline and oil drop like a rock. Going to be dropping down like a rock. I mean, already, look, just on the basis of, you know, things have happened. When it first came about, 20% of the oil came out of Hormuz. That's a lot. But, you know, with time, it's like they go into Texas, they go into Louisiana, they go into Alaska, a lot of Alaska. Alaska's, you know, sort of, it seems like very far away from Asia, but it's actually a relatively short trip by comparison to other locations they have to go to get oil. And they go into Alaska. In fact, our big problem is we're building bigger docking, to fill up. But we've become very big on the filling station.
Really?
We're a big filling station.
Shout out Lunatic Libertarian. He says, "Set, we got to cover the anti-federalists on the show." All right, why not? Well, is that like a YouTuber or maybe something I don't know.
And what's happening is when this first
name sounds interesting.
When people heard about losing Hormuz, they said, "Oh, it's genius." They're finding other locations, and some of those people I spoke to them, companies and.
Mike, is not everybody's in the chat is privy to top secret information. Is that everybody in the chat knows how to read an article? Yeah, and